Yeah. All right. That moves us to our board norms. Number 1, actively listen to all perspectives.
Number 2, close the loop responding to concerns and questions as a unified board.
Number 3, which isn't due on time. All of the professionalism we expect from all community members, from the district and the community side, customer service orientation.
Assume positive intent.
Be positive and responsive.
Okay, that moves us to the Pledge of Allegiance and the New Mexico flag salute. If everyone could please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag, the state of New Mexico, the Zia symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures. Okay, that moves us to number 2, action items. Item A, agenda items. And I'm betting this is approval of agenda items, right? Okay. Mr. Corey, you have any recommendations?
Yes, ma'am. I would like to move item 5A to the next agenda item between 2A and B, and I'd also like to move all of 7 right behind 5A.
Okay. Any other recommendations?
That will be it this evening.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the agenda as presented.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Okay.
So this evening, we're excited. I don't know if everyone else is excited. I am. A little state of the district report, and we've asked Chief Carrillo to come and kind of give us a quick update as far as the involvement of Bayard PD with the schools and what's kind of happened this year. So Chief, if you would like to come up here.
I can reach. That's odd. Sure. Can you hear me, or however this works?
You don't have to be that close, you're good.
First off, thank you, Superintendent Corey, for inviting me here. School board members, as you see right by you, this small token of our appreciation to you all. There's a pen and a challenge coin from the Bayard Police Department. This is the first year that the Bayard Police Department has even ordered these. They're kind of a tradition from the police departments to just have at least a little tradition of challenge coins. I'll make mine pretty brief. So again, my name is Hector Carrillo. I'm the Chief of Police here in Bayard. I prepared a small little statement here for you all. So I want to start by letting you all know the significant change at Snell Middle School. The administrative leadership change brought stability, accountability back into this school. The call volume from law enforcement has significantly decreased. When a situation is arising or in progress, the staff at the Snell Middle School are quick to act and contact law enforcement almost immediately. Now again, I started off with Snell because 2 years ago, Snell Middle School was challenging to law enforcement. The updates that you all have approved and done have shown to be very successful while working in the law enforcement field. The examples of the updates are your vape machines. I'm not sure what they're called, but I know they detect the vapes. Your security cameras are a big plus to us in law enforcement, and including your administrative staff there. So we will continue to keep working with Snell Middle School to ensure, of course, the safety of the students and staff. I'll move on to Cobre High School. Cobre High School has significantly have made progress as well. The call volumes decreased, and we continue to work closely with the staff at Cobre. The key for Cobre High School has been communication. Cobre High School had a security guard there that had our Bayard frequency channel. So there's been a few instances, either fights or students walking off campus. She was able to call us on our channel. We were able to get there, save a little bit of time from calling dispatch. So I've been working with Superintendent Corey to possibly have that for the principals of the rest of the schools, and something we're work on this year, so they don't just have to dial 911. They can just get on our frequency. Someone's always on duty during the day shift, and we'll go to whatever's needed. So with that in mind, with that said, with that frequency, the Bayard Police Department has conducted several investigations at Cobre High. But with the teamwork and the communication that we have with the administration there, we've actually had successful results in law enforcement investigations. So those two schools have been a big improvement. Bayard Elementary, I'll go on to Bayard now. We rarely get calls for service at Bayard. But these past 2 years, the administrative staff, they've conducted some fire drills and whatnot to where we've assisted, and the kids come to our facility and they see a fire truck, they see a police station. So that's kind of a cool thing for them to do. We do tend to patrol as much as we can during the times of drop-off and pickup, especially with the one-way signs. Sometimes the public needs a little reminding of the one-way, so we remind them. I also want to let the school board know that I've been working with a teacher by the name of Lucinda Valencia, who is a teacher there at Bayard Elementary. This year, we're in hopes of establishing and introducing McGruff, the crime dog. I'm working closely to try to fit a curriculum with the 4th grade class there at Bayard. So McGruff, the crime dog, was introduced to the Bayard City Council last November. He's new to the community, but he's been around since 1980. McGruff, the crime dog's message has focused on personal, family, and home security on crime prevention. McGruff also reaches out to children through commercials, songs, booklets from the National Crime Prevention Council about drugs, bullying, safety, and the importance to stay in school. So according to the National Crime Prevention Council, 80% of the children say they would likely listen to McGruff the crime dog's advice on crime prevention. That is the main reason why we brought McGruff the crime dog back to this community. McGruff the crime dog has a special dog costume. I'm not sure if you all remember the McGruff the crime dog. The focus of him will also be to teach students how to protect themselves from substance abuse, bullies, and gang violence. School board, I want to make you all aware that we do have gangs here in Bayard that are starting to form. Some as far as being young as Snell Middle School students. We are investigating, we are working closely with other agencies. So right now it's crucial that we bring in at least some kind of positive role model for these children and students. So McGruff the crime dog might not solve everything, but it'll start teaching them since elementary. In conclusion, well, let me just show you. I printed out a picture, and this is my son at one of your events. So if you guys remember what McGruff the crime dog looks like, I'll kind of show the public. I mean, so that's what he's going to be wearing and make appearances. So in conclusion, I want to make it clear that the Bayard Police Department is committed to ensuring student safety as well as staff safety. The crosswalks at Snell Middle School, we make sure that the students cross safely each time they approach that crosswalk. We also do a bit of traffic control, even if we see that the vehicles are getting backed up. If parents and students are running late, we don't stop the traffic for them, but we make sure that the kids cross that crosswalk. Now, what we do is if the traffic is getting backed up, we'll start doing traffic control. So, and lastly, in 2022-23 school year, we had approximately 49 cases that required case numbers, investigations, including citations to the Juvenile Probation Office between all schools. This doesn't include the calls for service where we just need a blotter report. So that's different. 49 cases is actual case reports that we've had to handle. In 2023 and 2024 school year, that dropped to 23 cases. So it's making a progress at all the schools, what you all are implementing and helping us as well. So with that, I will take any questions, anything concerns you all might have.
I got a question for the dog. Is that a grant that you applied for? How do we fund the additional officers?
So right now, we've started that, that's coming out of our Law Enforcement Protection Fund. We've already purchased the dog. we've purchased enough materials to try and get this first semester going. Of course, I am going to be asking for some donations from the public, kind of like work hand in hand with the DARE program with the sheriff's office. He teaches some different, and then now he's going to be teaching the fifth graders. We'll be trying to teach the fourth graders, and we'll work hand in hand for that. But there's no grant right now for it.
Okay.
What about the crosswalk at the high school? Sometimes I see some kids, I mean, there's not a lot of kids that cross it, but shouldn't there be some lights telling the public, you know, there's a crosswalk there?
Absolutely. So what I've looked into when I was hired here in Bayard is, again, trying to get those lights there. I was told that that's not an actual school crosswalk. It's just a public crosswalk, and that's why the funding for that is limited. So I trying to look into, this school year kind of went by pretty fast, so I won't lie, I didn't look into trying to, or make that a school crosswalk, because I completely agree with you. There's not very many, there's a few that cross, but I was told that we couldn't really do much because it's not a school crosswalk, or labeled that, however the New Mexico DOT labels that. The SNAL does, the SNAL Municipal Crosswalk is for sure in the books for it. So that's something that I would write down and look into for you all.
I just, go ahead.
You mentioned that the dog would be, you were gonna start with Mrs. Valencia at Baird Elementary,
Yes.
but is that something that all the fourth graders in the whole district would get to see? Or would it be a program for each of the elementary schools in the district?
So what me and Mrs. Valencia were talking about is to try out every fourth grader at Bayard Elementary first. I want to make sure that, one, I have the coverage, one, that I do have an officer available, so we don't leave to a call for service. If it's myself teaching the students, or I'll assign someone. We want to see how that first semester goes. I'm hoping that it's going to go good. But once it kicks off, I would like to do that through the whole Tri-City community here, you know, Central and Hurley. I don't know about San Lorenzo a little far, but yeah, hey, we'll work it, but just trying to take a few steps at a time with it. So it'll be all fourth graders. I don't know how many teachers teach fourth grade at that elementary. If it's 2 classes or 3 or 1, but it'll be the fourth grade class.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Mine's not so much a question, just thank you for working with us and helping out and keeping the district safe, our kids and our staff.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
And especially that crosswalk, and I've seen you guys present at the football games. I was at a basketball tournament over the weekend, and there was police presence there, which made a huge difference. So
Yes,
thank
ma'am.
you.
Thank you. And thank you to you all, because the staff that you put there, I work closely with the staff that's here, Ms. Villa, everybody else here. They call us, and that's what we want, is an open communication. Summerfest is coming up, we're planning for that. So, yeah, it works hand in hand when we communicate, and thank you all for supporting law enforcement and putting your staff there too. So,
Try to comment as well as a question. And one is that I was on the school board a long, long time ago, and we asked that question about the crosswalk there. And Altamirano was alive, and he was very powerful in the legislature, and he couldn't get it done. Which, they didn't bring up that excuse. They just said there was no funding for that, and that wasn't an approved project. So beware of just getting the lip service, that, oh, yes, we can, or, you know, it's because of that. But it is a very important thing, and it's really ironic that the development that's across the street of the highway over there has that lighting system where you press this, a button and lights go off and the person can cross. That's not a school zoning, that's not anything else like that. So please use that as an argument as to why it is that our children don't rate that level of protection. As the use of it there between Santa Clara and Beard.
okay. Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, the only good or excuse I was told was that it's not an actual school crosswalk. So if we start with advocating for it to be a school crosswalk, maybe we can grab more attention and put some more lighting, stuff like that on there. Now, I'd have to, of course, bring this to our City of Bayard Council, if that's gonna be a council thing for them to push, or is it contacting New Mexico DOT? I'm new at this part of it, so yes, I'll look into it. And I'll even give you guys a debrief on what I find out. So, thank you.
I did comment on that, that we did try at one time getting the lights and the speed limit reduced in that area. And the DOT did a study where they sat out there for 2 weeks and monitored the usage, and it did qualify for it
close to the middle school. And it's almost the same, yeah,
That's what they keep on.
yeah, that's like.
We'll keep pushing.
category of good service. But, the other question I had, has to deal with homelessness. How are you seeing that in not only there, but the surrounding area? And do you have any recommendations that we can do to help address that as well?
Right, well, unfortunately, homelessness is a big problem throughout the state, especially even in Grant County. There's some programs for them, the SPIN program up in Silver. We do have that small little problem here in Bayard. We really try and help them as much as we can. If they need a ride to Silver, if they need to, help them to go to SPIN, because what we're seeing is some of these homeless, they commit crimes. They start burglarizing stuff. They get trespass from places here in Bayard that there's really not that much businesses. So if you get a trespass from 4 or 5 businesses here, well, what do you do if you're homeless and you're here? You're going to commit a crime to try and go in and buy something you need or something. So our officers work with the homeless that we do know live here in Bayard. We sometimes even provide them just a small little open tab at M&A so they can get something to eat. So we try and be proactive as much as we can. Of course, if they mess up and do commit a crime, we charge. But that's a big problem here, sir. And the only thing I can tell you is, as law enforcement, we are proactive. We know who they are. We make contact with them as much as we can. We see them at night. We make sure that kind of keeps tabs on them. All right, I saw them at this spot. They're not doing anything wrong there. I saw them at this other spot. Offer them the assistance that they need. Some take it, some don't. So that's a big issue.
How many school students, if any, are affected by being homeless?
How many?
How many students?
Students.
Do we have that are in the category of being homeless, and what is there to help with that?
I don't think any students are homeless. If that was the case, as far as the law enforcement comes in, if it's reported to us, we take it to CYFD, and we'll take custody of that student if we find that there's no care for that student. So out on the streets, we've made contact with adult homeless people. If we do make contact with juveniles, then we make sure and find out where they're living, find out their living conditions. If we get a call for service there, we also find that out. So there has been times where I myself answer calls for service and have turned some students that are in this district to CYFD for a better shelter, for a better life. The outcome, sometimes they tell us, sometimes they don't, but there is. There's a little, we do a process of it.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Anything else?
I think that's it. Thank you so
Good,
much.
thank you. Thank you all. You have a good evening.
Appreciate
Thank you.
more than you ever know this year, the support and help, and always being that one phone call away.
Thank you.
Just
And I look forward to working with you all and your staff again this
Yeah,
next coming year.
thanks a million.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you. Okay, that moves us to 7A, district year-end reports. Number 1, Caitlin Church Technology.
He put me on a timer tonight.
I wonder why.
Madam President, School Board, Mr. Corey, a year ago I came into this district being questioned by many of my colleagues in the IT world as, are you crazy? I came in here and found out that this IT department that I was coming in to be the coordinator of had a very serious problem with end user satisfaction, problems with cybersecurity, and problems with just leaving money on the table. In the year I've been here, I have recouped over $60,000 for the district through HCF funding that they bought stuff with, but they never bothered to get reimbursed for. I've also cut our software expenditures by about $30,000 for this next year. That works out because I did change some software that increased things, but hey, I'm not going there right now. Also, the first contact after a help desk ticket has been input into our system has gone from multiple days before it was first touched to hours. I have heard over and over again from principals and staff in our school district, you are a godsend. So if that was the only thing I was able to accomplish this year, that would be amazing, because every district I've worked at has had that problem of the end user not being satisfied with the service they're receiving. But on November 5th of last year, I received an email from you, Madam President, that said, "Is our district prepared for a cyber attack?" At that time, at the next board meeting, I said, "Can I get 30 more seconds, please?"
Yes, ma'am.
Please take it, because I want to follow up to this.
I said, I didn't think so. Today, I'm here standing before you saying, this district is would not only withstand a cyber attack, we are one of 5 districts of under 2,000 students that was recognized by the state by asking me to be a part of a cybersecurity roundtable that was held up in Santa Fe 2 weeks ago that included the Office of the National Cybersecurity Director, Harry Coker Jr. I was asked to be there and to participate in that roundtable. And having that happen, just for me, shows how far this district has come this year in its cybersecurity stance. There's still a long way to go, but we are 100% better than we were when you wrote that email in November.
Thank you so much, Caitlin. It's a testament to your hard work, and we appreciate it. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
The ETF funding that was left on the table, could you describe that a little bit?
Back during COVID, there were 3 rounds of what was called educational connectivity funds made available to make sure that all students in the district had a connected device for their use when we were in a lockdown situation. This district purchased somewhere in the neighborhood of 250 Chromebook devices plus a substantial number of hotspots. And when I got here and started looking for E-rate funding for this coming year, I contacted the same consulting firm I've used in other districts. And that consulting firm is out of South Dakota. When they looked at our records through the E-rate program, which also administered the ECF funds, they explained to me that there was over $60,000 in recoupable funds available to us. All we had to do was submit the paperwork. And that was from ECF round 1, not ECF round 2 or 3, but round 1. So I was able, with their help, to get that money back for us.
The alarm came off in my head when I thought you said ETF.
No, EC.
And I was thinking, that's a different story.
Educational connectivity funding.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think that moves us to Ms. Ramirez.
Good afternoon, Madam President, school board members, Superintendent Corey. So on my first day of work, I walked into my office to find that I didn't have any paper files or reference material to review how things were previously done by the previous administration. And this was right before the beginning of the new school year, what I now know is the busiest time of the year for us. And while everything was chaotic and disorganized then, I can proudly say that we have come a long way in making our department more efficient, organized, and streamlined. So during the past year, we've implemented 2 different systems, SmartFind Express, the substitute calling system, and Frontline Hiring and Recruiting / Frontline Central. We trained all staff and started using SmartFind Express at the end of April and feel we have worked out the majority of the kinks that come with any new system. We have also been using Frontline Hiring and Recruiting for all aspects of our job postings and for advertising through jobsk-12.com. And we are receiving a large number of qualified applicants for all postings. We will be working with Frontline Central for several months to come, as this will be our employee file database and will allow for new employees to complete their new hire paperwork electronically. We have also been using E-Verify, a government website through the Department of Homeland Security, to verify employment eligibility for all new hires. We established internal policies and procedures following district policies for different areas of the department, such as the hiring process from beginning to end, our annual vector training, and drug and alcohol testing of employees, just to name a few. Since August of last year, I scheduled and registered 212 individuals for background checks. These were for staff, coaches, volunteers, substitutes, and contractors. So during my last update to you, I mentioned that I was working on auditing personnel files. Since that update, I completed auditing all 126 licensed staff files, and I'm halfway through the classified staff files. So of the 126 licensed employees on file, 79 of them were missing background checks. And of the 60 classified files I have completed, 13 are missing background checks so far. So that gives you an idea. I also created a database of all of our licensed staff and that reflect licensure levels, endorsements, and expiration dates to help us for staying on top of licensure renewals. And most recently, I've been busy with staff licensure renewals, employment verifications, district vacancies, and also with providing the PED with teacher file documentation for an expedited audit that they are conducting. Kind of just let us know last minute, and they want all this done by the end of the month. So do you guys have any questions for me?
Can you remind everyone how many people are in your office, your staff?
It's just me.
Just you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Of those, what was it, 17 that have not been background checked?
79?
79?
That was our licensed. They had not been. They
Oh,
are
but they
now.
are.
They are
Oh,
now.
okay.
Yes, now. And then of the 60 classified employees, there's 135. I've only done 60 so far. 13 of them have not done them.
What happens if you don't get that done with the state?
Well, it's in our policy. We have to have everybody background. Anybody that comes into contact on our premises with
But your
children.
audit that's gonna come out?
Oh, They're not asking for that. They're not asking for backgrounds. They're asking for years of experience, licensure, the licenses, what else was it? The level of licensure, and then verification of employment and all contracts. That's what they're asking for with this audit. I've already provided it all to them, so it's taken care of.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just a side note, when did you do that?
Sunday, yesterday. I spent 10 hours doing that. Yeah. But got it all done, it's all taken care of.
So it was an external audit that's being done, it's not internal, who's doing the audit?
The PED.
Mhm. And, will that report come to us?
I would assume so. Yeah, just like all of them do. Yeah.
And would that record how it was before you got here, as well as how it is since you got here?
I'm not sure. This is the first time I'm
They're just,
involved.
they're just looking at just this year we're in right now. They're not looking at the past, they're just looking at the past.
Okay, and the reason I ask that, at some point, we may need, to have a good picture of how it was before you got here. So if that can be documented in such a way that, we have that, when we do need it, I'd really appreciate that. I think, there's some people making some claims that, things were running just fine, and, we had no basis to move along the way we did. And this was one of the clearer examples of non-compliance.
Right.
Appreciate the amount of work, the quality of work, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that moves us to Mrs. Chavita.
Okay, I also was told by my boss, make it very simple and precise. So
We
2
wanted
minutes.
Good information, but not too long.
Right, we have a lot of other people presenting tonight. So, good evening, President Begay, members of the board, Mr. Corey. So last board meeting, we talked about testing. I feel that that's a celebration in a lot of our schools.
We had many of our schools, many of the classrooms were at above 70%. I think I went back real quickly, and I think there were 8 or 9 of our classrooms that were above 70% in elementary. That's approximately 30 to 40% of our classes. So that is a celebration. If you notice, many of the schools around the state are still in the 50s and 60s. So to be at 70s is pretty impressive. Also, we had about 3 classes in the 90s. That's exceptional, right? So there are many celebrations to be had in regards to testing. Another part of my job is federal program applications. So I'm the federal programs person. And right now we have 6 federal programs. We have Title I, Title II, which is Title I is parent involvement, parent engagement. And Title II is your educator growth application. Title III is English language learners. Title IV is student support and academic enrichment. And then you have rural and low income schools and family income index. So all of those applications come out in May. So it's been a very busy May for me because I have to fill out all those applications. And so now what they're doing, the PED is doing, is they're going through each application and they're either approving it or telling me I need to fix things. So out of those 6, I think we've had 3 approved. Okay? And these will go through finance when we get to that point. Then, of course, we have our other grants on top of that, and I'm the grant person too. So we have our CTE grants, which is Carl Perkins, and then we have Next Gen. And those were submitted, and that was approved, I think, last week, our CTE grant. And our Innovation Zone, which was very exciting, is also another high school grant. Last year, we received $200,000. We were in the 2nd cohort of schools in New Mexico receiving Innovation Zones. This year, they are not allowing any new schools to apply for Innovation Zones. But we did apply. I did ask for a lot. This year we got 300. No, this year we got 200. So in the grant application we asked for 385. We got 280, but at least it's more than 200. So we do have, that will go through finance too. We do have 280,000 in Innovation Zones. Then we also were approved for our structured literacy grant, which was the ones for the elementary. So it's a pretty big application to submit. We got it last year. We went ahead and submitted for this year. So we were announced at the literacy conference that we do have the literacy grant for all 4 elementary, which is $25,000. We will grade those funds with CLSD to help support our interventionist salary at each elementary. And also with that structured literacy grant, we received coaching support with the RECs. We had to put our coaches back into the classroom. That was one of our sustaining supports that we had moving forward was let's do the structured literacy grant because I know we'll get coaching support from the RECs, which we will.
Sorry, I want to interrupt you.
Yes, go ahead.
Last board meeting, there were table pieces here.
Yes.
Can you report on what happened with
Yeah,
that?
so our table pieces, a special shout out, and I think I did this time again, to Leslie at the high school, Leslie Arnold, Jen Duran at the middle school. You know, they send these crazy things to us because we are a CLSD school, right? I think we're one of 15 schools in New Mexico that receive that CLSD grant. And again, as I mentioned last time, we received the most out of all of New Mexico, us being a tiny school. And they realized, I think later on, they realized we probably should have thought this out. Why did we give Cobre, these 6 schools, this much money when we gave, Belen this much money? Well, too late. We got our money moving forward. But with that comes promises, right? So they send out these emails. It'd be so nice if we can have beautiful centerpieces at the literacy community. And you can't say no. I know Frank said, why are you doing this for? This is because it's a lot of paperwork, right, for all these centerpieces. So when they strongly encourage you to do something, we went ahead and did it, and it was a lot of work. There was a lot of work even getting them in there because we took all these, you saw the centerpieces, there were 9 of them. We loaded them at the wrong place. Even went up the elevator and loaded them at the wrong place. But anyway, we won first. There were only 2 prizes to be had, and we won both. We won first place and we won second place.
Nice.
And they were beautiful, and there was lots of tables there, because I was there at the conference, so there's a bunch of tables there, and we won both prizes.
We did, the only 2 prizes available, yes. So with that, I think we get 500 for each school for our art program. So Frank, you're gonna have a check from us pretty soon. And, real quick, I'm gonna continue on. We hopefully will have CLSD carryover between $500,000 to $700,000, even though it's the grant is stopping. We did get the approval of a note, it's called a no-cost extension. So we will be getting some funds next year. We're not exactly sure how much until this fiscal year ends and we get all our invoices paid. But we will be funding, as I mentioned before, we will be funding, creating our funds with CLSD and some of these other grants to make sure we have an interventionist at every school. We wanted it to be there. So 6 interventionists at every school. So then, this year, we also went into partnership with Steaming Ahead and NMSU to offer summer school. That was also a really big endeavor. We've never done something to that extreme. And again, we had many meetings trying to sell this program to principals. The pay that they give our teachers is not close to their hourly pay, so I just wanted to have a shout out to the accounting department because we've had to do some differential pay in this for teachers to want to work it. So it's been a lot of work on our end to make sure these teachers get the pay they deserve. But we have Steaming Ahead pays for a portion of their salary and we pay for the rest of it. They bring in these awesome hands-on kits. We've had teachers in training and it's a training for several afternoons to learn how to do the curriculum. So we are partnered with Steaming Ahead. We had every school in the district that did this program, which says something about it. And then next year, we will do it again. And this summer, what we're going to do with Steaming Ahead this summer is we're going to have a middle school transition camp with Steaming Ahead. So July 23rd, 24th, and 25th, we're going to bring in those 5th graders, transition them to 6th grade, and with the money program. So we're already registering kids. We already have about 50-something registered at this time. Let's see. I know I've passed my 2 minutes about 15 minutes ago. But real quick, we did a whole lot of professional development, a whole lot. And I mean, teachers have just been really excited that we've put the money into this because a lot of schools don't do that. I want to thank CLSD was a big contributor for them. We used a lot of CLSD funds for professional development. Goodbye to ESSER, but ESSER used a lot of ESSER money. So again, we had teachers in reading apprenticeship, which is a huge program. It's a year-long commitment. These teachers went and worked with some coaches for reading apprenticeship. We have Open Science, which was we're in partnership with TED, and our teachers go and do trainings twice a year, and they have trainings once a month with coaches for science letters. The majority of our teachers have completed the letters program. Again, there's 8 units. If you think about it, it's a lot. I know Gabby has been, we have our 2 teachers on the board. I'm sure they can attest to the amount of work that goes into letters. But we also felt as a district that we need to pay our teachers to do this. I mean, this is a huge commitment for teachers. And so we put together a stipend that we felt honored their daily rate. And so when they finish the program, they either get 500 or 800 for every unit. And again, that's thanks to CLSD. We went to Ron Clark. Again, we sent approximately 58 employees to Ron Clark. And then we had sped trainings with REC. We brought in REC to also help us with the dash plan. We realized that was an area of weakness for us. Dash plans are real tricky. I mean, it is something that changes every year. It's changing again this year. But we did partner with REC, and they have coached us every bit of the way. And they've really supported us through that process, and we're bringing them on again this year for dash plan training. We've sent our pre-K teachers to the early childhood trainings. We've gone to every literacy training there is. We've done every CTE training there is. So our teachers have been very busy learning, and I'm proud to say that we were able to support that this year. Right now, I'm just in the process of solidifying our PD for next year. We have our iReady, which is our math curriculum that's coming down. Again, we're
Regarding the innovations grant,
Yes.
have we expanded the partnerships to include NMSU or any other employer or internship
What we're gonna do-
possibilities?
Yes, we are working on that. Part of, okay, so the grant, the budget that I put through was 385, right? I only got 280, so I've got to go back and get something. But one area that I put in was I'm going to partner with Silver, and we are going to share a person. And that person is the job coordinator specialist, let's just say that, or job, I don't remember the name of the person, I have it somewhere. And that person will help build those partnerships. Because we are so shorthanded,
No,
there's
right.
no way that we can go out into the field and start building these partnerships. So having that person with Silver, and it was nice because that person's gonna cost more than 35, right? But Silver's like, you know what, you're smaller, we're bigger, you just give us a check for 35, so we'll go into an MOU and we'll just handle the check, and then we'll have a part-time employee, which will help us build those partnerships we need for innovation zones. So hopefully, we can get that done this year.
Is that pertaining only to the business side, not so much to like
No, it
the
does.
curriculum?
It pertains to Western and the colleges as well, yes.
So New Mexico State,
Yes.
Doña Ana Community
Yes.
College, okay,
Those colleges as well. That's
cool.
right.
Thank you.
Yes, any other questions?
How many hours of sleep do you get a night?
Right.
Thank you, Ms. Chavita.
Thank you, Mr. Chavira.
That moves us to Mr. Ryan.
I promise to keep mine short. I just wanna, how do I follow all these good reports? But anyways, you guys get a report every month from me, pretty much. We have our budget committee, we have our finance committee, our audit committee, and so you guys hear every month what's going on in my department, in my world, and what we're doing. And one thing that Mr. Corey always says is that my department, right now, working in the past, the present, and the future, we're still trying to get past, what the past, get that all straightened out, get to where we focus on just the present and future. I'll give you an example. Friday, I spent my entire day working on budgets for upcoming year. That was my day. Today, I spent my day just getting POs done out of the way. Tomorrow, I'm gonna work on audits, or past audits, so that's just an ongoing issue. Once we get past these items from the past, the reconciliation, and everything done, and we can really focus on the present and the future. So, I wanna give a big shout out to my staff. They're relatively new, and they have really come a long way in their jobs, and the jobs that they're doing, I can depend on them, and they really get a lot done for me, which really helps me out, so big shout out to them. And like I said, just trying to get past this and really focus on the future. I evaluate myself and my department all the time in my head, and I write down notes, and I have a lot of stuff that I want to improve on next year. We still have a ways to come in working out. Really what I see is the schools are our end user, and we want to provide good customer service to them. And we have room for improvement, and we're working on looking at it. But just a couple of big hurdles still that we're trying to get them out of the way. So, I've been trying to stay on top of keeping up with Suzanne over here with budgets. One budget at a time keeps coming my way, and we get them put into OBMS and get them approved. And we're working on that. We're working on closing out our budget for the year, which is a big task to do as well. So, yeah, we're closing out budgets, we're starting budgets, so it's just a very, very busy time of year for us right now. I mean, everybody asks, what are you doing during the summer? This is our busiest time of year, but that's for sure. So, we're coming on. We're good staff. And we've got room for improvement, which we'll get. Any questions?
Yes. One of the continuing difficulties that's been present in finance, and that is the lack of internal controls, particularly related to soft money. And I had an example of that. I went to go pay for a yearbook at one of the schools, and the person that was supposed to get the money wasn't there, but wasn't going to be back the rest of the day, and it was the last day. So they went ahead and took the money and asked me, do you want a receipt? And that should be a question that should never be asked. So it seems like there's still a very big weakness in that.
And those are internal controls at the school level that principals need to work out with their staffs, and plus with assistance from us. So yeah, there's room for improvement at the school level also. I see this, and that's good to hear what's going on. The only way we can get better is by knowing stuff like this. So if there's ever anything, you should bring it to our attention. That's the only way to grow.
There should also be training, though.
Yes, we can provide training.
So I got a question. I mean, in the foreseeable future, do you see electronic game entry to all of our school functions? I mean, like GoFan, right? You can't,
Yes.
starting at the state tournament level, all the way through, and it's paperless.
That's one thing we have implemented is the GoFan, and there's really not a whole lot of usage out there. There is some people that pay electronically, buy their tickets electronically, but, we have a lot of people that still just prefer old-fashioned cash. That works for them. That's what they do. And I'd hate to pull that from them, elderly people or whoever who come to the games. Sorry, you got to pay with your credit card. So it's an option. We leave that optional. I know some, like NMAA is not strictly electronic, but I hate to go that, maybe in the future, but right now, no, because we do have people that they rely on the cash.
And many of them,
Good point.
and many that don't have access to electronics to do that as well.
Just thank you, Frank. Sitting on the finance committee has been a learning experience for me, me and David both. And so it's been good to see the progress we made when we started. And like you said, it's difficult, past, present, and future, and just seeing it all. I think we're all ready for it to come to present time and future. So thank you to you and your staff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that moves us to Mrs. Luckhurst, our SPED Director, Coordinator.
Madam President and the board and Mr. Corey. So thinking about Norma said her first day of work. My first day of work, I walked in, we take this light on my desk. We quickly got a second one within pretty quick period of time there. So both of those we resolved successfully, and that was good. One of the other things that I'm happy about for us was that at a January training with REC, 60% of the attendees were from our district, so that was a great sign for us, a great improvement with getting teachers into training. And that training was about behaviors, that was also a great thing for them to be part of. We also improved our processes for discipline for special ed students. We improved our processes for updating parents about grades. I held parent meetings every month, and we had board members attend as well as community, so that was great to have that participation. We also implemented co-teaching and inclusive practices at SNEL, which will continue into the high school next year. I'm also in the process right now of developing a behavior program for the high school and middle school. It'll be 6 through 12 will be eligible, but it will be held at the high school. Will be very specific criteria though for that program for students who have significant mental health or other behavior challenges that impact their ability to be with their genetic peers. We also improved our compliance timelines and our deadlines for IEPs and evaluations. Starting next year also, we're also in the process of making a special ed PLC every week that will rotate schools, so one in the morning and one in the afternoon for half day each. So each school will be with our IEP facilitator once a month, and then that's something we're looking forward to, providing that for them, and that's pretty much, in a nutshell.
I have one question, of
You
course.
reached your quota this evening, no?
You know? It's surprising we've been having these discussions. I think that's, what a concept. The numbers of openings in your department it seems to be the most prevalent throughout the district. Could you explain whether that's working, that's not working, if there's something you need to help, or?
I'm actually happy with the number of openings we have. It's actually better than it could be. So we're doing well. We did have a few, mostly aides that resigned at the end of the school year. We had interviews today. We had 2 really great candidates that we're hoping to move forward with. Not sure yet about teacher openings. We were able to move a few people around to fill sped vacancies with other budget things that happened. So we're actually in a really good spot for next year. So all things considered, we're doing really well right now.
Thank you.
In the conference that we had, explained that not all kids have a disability, but they have to, maybe, like, they need to more in math or reading, and that covers special education, IEPs, right?
For learning disabilities?
Mhm. So
Some
it's
kids are
not just like Down syndrome, or it's a kid that needs special help,
Yes.
correct?
There are 13 disability categories with the federal government, so
Mhm.
we implement all of those. So there's 13 different ways that you can qualify for services, but yeah, they're very nuanced for each one. So that's what our team works on a lot, is making sure we're identifying kids correctly. We have some kids that are not identified correctly for one reason or another, and so those are things that we're working on getting cleaned up so that our kids are getting the best services that they need, and they're not labeled incorrectly under something like speech when they have much more significant things going on, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That brings up Mrs. Walton, Operations.
Good afternoon, esteemed members of the board, Madam President, and Mr. Corey. I'm so excited to be here today. So, a year ago, I started in July on some of the others, and I found myself with kind of a mess. And so, we had 1,250 work orders. We added 1,149, and we've worked 220 days as of today. We currently have 258 outstanding work orders, so the total number of completed work orders was 3,141, or approximately 14 work orders per day is what we're putting out. We have a little bit of bad news. We did not get the solar put in this year, and I don't know if that's ever gonna happen because the company went out of business, and I cannot locate anybody in regards to that, so the solar's off. Some of the other good things that I've done though is we've had OSHA 10 training for all of the maintenance people. We did forklift training. We also did the custodians and cafeteria workers for an abbreviated OSHA 10 type class. And the cafeteria workers also got an ergonomics evaluation. We have picked up additional work for our department this year that wasn't something they did before. The golf course is one example. That has proven to be a lot more hours than they told us it would be. We've also picked up the baseball field since April due to George Reyes leaving. He was a volunteer. He's no longer taking care of that for us. We also picked up the warehouse operations where we're doing the receiving and delivering of packages, and that started in October. And we also clean the warehouse because we do not have a custodian in our department. We're also down 2 staff members in the last month. One position will be filled, the other position was transferred to a full-time custodian over at Bayard. So I've also lost a position, plus we've lost the person who did work in the warehouse, and that position will not be filled either. Let's see, so Gabby asked also for information on school safety. So we have the fire inspection by the state fire marshal scheduled for July. It's been a little over a year since we've done one. We've also implemented the rave panic button, the stop it anonymous reporting. This, I've done 2 safety and security inspections with every school this year and given them a report as to things that they needed to improve on. We did a safety assessment for the schools at the end of May, so that was also done. We just received a package from Percata today, which is the final things that we need for access control. We have all the cameras have been installed at all the schools, and the access controls is at most schools that should be completed here shortly. We also are getting radios. I think there's going to be radios distributed amongst the admin staff here shortly. They're interconnected with the city of Bayard, and so that'll be for all staff at the beginning of the school year as well. So a few accomplishments. We've got an outstanding rating for the preventative maintenance plan that I wrote up, and this is the first time Cobre has received a rating like that. There's something called an FMAR. It's the Facility Maintenance Assessment Report that's done once every 4 to 5 years for every school. We have a dismal ranking. We were at 57.39% out of 100%, and that was across all of our districts. So what that means is we are not doing a very good job of keeping our buildings up. So, since I started, it's been raised to 64.31, and that was due to one school. So that was an evaluation that was just done this now, and I had the opportunity to respond to everything that they identified as issues. And when I did that, then that raised our score for Snell, which went from 35% the previous time it was evaluated, to now we're at 76%. So we just jumped up big time, and all it took was just responding and actually addressing the issues. Our goal is 90%. There's not that many schools that are at 90%. They're all bigger schools than us, but that is our goal. We are really working hard to get better at that. We're due for inspections by PSFA on these FMARs, so we should be getting new evaluations within the next year. We switched to an online iPad work order system that is going to reduce the amount of time it takes us to respond to work orders and to be more efficient. We did some big things. We fixed all the doors in the district, which may not sound like a big thing, but from what I've heard from other people is that you had problems getting into Cobre High School for years, so we fixed that. We fixed a 15-year-old water leak that was on the front lawn of Cobre High School. We also fixed a water intrusion at Sandlow that was going on for years. So we're trying to address a lot of those things that kind of had just not been taken care of. We've organized the maintenance shop and warehouse, so you could actually get in there and work. And we have outfitted our maintenance department with new tools so that they can actually go out and do their job. We obtained access to the DMV website so that we can do in-house background checks for transportation, and that saved us quite a bit of money to be able to do that. We had a large dirt pile out at Sandlow that was from building the well. That was gonna cost us $7,000 to remove that, but I found the county was able to take that for us, and they did not charge us anything. And so I've also received a lot of gratitude and kudos from the schools because they're so impressed that we're actually getting stuff accomplished and done. So that's been really good. I also established policies and procedures for the maintenance and transportation department. I'm in the process of doing that for the warehouse as well. And then I will give those all to you guys to get board approval on that. So I'd like to, congratulate my staff because we have been very short-staffed. We had 3 people quit or leave in the fall. I was able to replace them, but now I'm down to potentially 3 positions. And so the guys have done all of this work and, have not complained about it. They keep showing up, they keep doing their job, and we're definitely making some big inroads and progress at the, taking care of the building. So, any questions, comments, concerns?
Thank you. And then one question I had was about the uniforms. I think we talked about it. Did you guys find a new vendor?
We did, and
Okay.
we're saving quite a bit of money by switching from the linen company that was handling all of our stuff to the new company. So the guys all have long sleeve shirts right now with the logo on it and their name, and we're getting them a couple of short sleeve shirts as well. But they look very nice, and so do the custodians.
And then my other question was, did those 2 buses ever come in?
Yeah.
Do we have an ETA on that?
You'd have to ask Frank. That's a Frank question.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Are they really? Oh, good.
Okay. Thank you.
I had a question.
Yes.
You mentioned the warehouse part of that. And before, we had a problem with 70-some people having access to purchase stuff at Ace or other places. What control, if that's not going to be filled, that position is not one that's going to be filled? And does that expose us to purchasing equipment that's maybe not intended for the schools?
We have really cracked down on that. So when I first got here, the maintenance crew routinely was in Silver purchasing things, and it was like the Wild West in the department. And so the first thing that I did when I came on board is I stopped that. And I would only allow one person to go to Silver to pick up things. And so now we just have like 1 day a week or 2 days a week that we go in, that somebody goes in. Right now, it's been me lately going in to pick up stuff, but every request has to come through me. So on Mondays, the guys look at all their work orders that they're gonna work on during the week. They put together a list of supplies that they're going to need. I get those all together, and then I either place orders myself, Jasmine, it just kind of depends on which one of us is free to get things together. And then so it's all controlled right now pretty tightly.
And the warehouse is just going to be then open, it's not going to be secured, or?
The warehouse is locked.
Okay.
It is locked at all times. There's been some logistic issues in regards to that, because if I leave, which I am out and about throughout the community a lot, or if I go to Silver to pick something up, then there's nobody in there. There's no one in the warehouse, there's no one in the maintenance area. So I lock the building, and they have to call if there's a delivery, or if the custodians are coming over to pick something up, they have to call me and make an appointment.
Wow, that seems like that would be taxing.
It's a little challenging, but, I don't want to leave the building open,
Oh,
and I
definitely.
don't have anybody that I can plunk down and keep there all day long.
Okay, thank you.
I had a question. The last state bar marshal audit was fairly lengthy. Would you have an idea of what % complete that audit findings was done, so we don't have a repeat when they come back in July?
Well, I have gone over everything with every school. They've all gotten a copy of their previous fire marshal reports. I have talked to them about what they need to do. Like I said, I had the 2 which when I did those, I discussed the things the fire marshal would be looking for. When I gave them this last safety assessment, I also gave them a list of the things the fire marshal is going to be looking for in July when we go around. One of the things that I noticed before is that people did not go with the fire marshal. I will be going with them this time and making sure that everything that's identified, that I can, talk to the schools about it. We have made major inroads in regards to the issues that have come up before. One major one has been our fire alarm systems, and those have all been fixed. We had dialers that we had to get for all of the systems, and once we got the dialers fixed, that corrected a lot of our problems. It's not to say that Cobre's isn't on the edge and Snell's isn't on the edge. Those need to be replaced, but they are working as they should. And that was one of our biggest concerns. Another one that we have is a personnel issue. People plugging in extension cords, having, a refrigerator, popcorn maker, coffee maker, microwave, on and on and on. There'll be 7 or 8 things plugged in for a classroom, in addition to their 2 monitors, their computer, and their printer. So we don't have the infrastructure to support that kind of usage. So we're going to have to institute some policies, I think, to reduce some of that. And that will help also to not get so many games by the fire marshal.
That leads to the next question, right, Mr. Corey? The new high school, that'll be ready for stuff like that?
Yeah, that will be our plan, is to make sure.
Well, I just remember reading some of that audit, and you mentioned that the doors were repaired, where the state auditor or the fire marshal comes in, and these doors are locked because they don't secure.
Right.
And that's a big finding, Electronic rooms with boxes and boxes of stuff blocking access to those electrical panels, that's the low-hanging fruit that I think we need to make sure
We've
that.
already addressed all of that. There have been multiple, tours done in the schools. I talked to them about that. I've educated them about that. It was also in our OSHA 10 class that they are not to be stacking stuff to the ceiling or blocking the entrance, as I've seen in many of the schools. So I feel really good about where we're at right now. I think we should do really well on the fire marshal's inspection. I really need that drum very loudly.
Okay, thank you.
A question to Mr. Corey on that. How does this affect our chances for getting funding for a new school? Because I believe that's one of the things they look at in deciding which schools they'll fund.
So on which part, the fire marshal report?
The maintenance of the facilities.
So I think Ms. Walton, one of the things she was describing is the numbers that have gone up, which they're wanting those numbers to go up, meaning that we're maintaining what we have, so it does not affect us on our funding.
Okay,
No, I'm in close contact with PSFA. There is no reason why we will not get funded. We've already been told that we will. We're supposed to be at 70%, but the only schools that they're going to look at are Cobre and Snell. So Snell is already at 76%.
Okay.
And Cobre's was low, but as soon as they do their inspection, we should be fine. It shouldn't be an issue at all.
Okay, thank you.
So we've been we ask a lot of questions because a lot of times we don't know the answer on making sure whatever we're doing does not affect that. So we're very mindful in our decisions to make sure that we're not messing that up by doing work and putting the things together we're supposed to, so.
Right, there's things like if we decide, say we had $300,000 given to us right now, and I would not race over and re-roof Cobre. I wouldn't do that, because that would lower our score in regards to, our ranking. It would make us a higher number so that we wouldn't fit into the criteria to get the funding. So we are making strategic decisions on some of the things that we're doing so that we still will qualify for that.
Okay, and but there's a quality of maintenance aspect as well, and that's what I was asking on. Certainly, I understand the part of we don't want to get the structure to a point where it doesn't qualify anymore, but the quality of maintenance in itself is a.
PSFA is super happy with us right now.
Good.
They have made several comments during our facility managers meetings about how we have improved dramatically in the last several months, and they're quite happy with the progress that we've made on our work orders. And I identify everything that they have identified. I even went back to the old evaluations, the old FMARs for Cobre, and put in everything that I still did not think was addressed, even though there were no work orders for those in the system. And we went ahead and addressed those as well. And Larry Tillotson was super stoked. He's like, no one has ever done that before. No one has gone back on old ones. We have 90 days to respond to the report, the FR report when it comes out. And so I took the extra initiative, went ahead, addressed all of those issues, and they are just blown away. They're super stoked about what we're doing down here.
Thank you.
Thank you. That brings us to Ms. Villa, Family Engagement.
Thank you.
Good evening, board members, Madam President, and Mr. Corey. So this year, well, last year and this year, we were able to do our Summer Fest 2023, which brought over approximately 3,000 people that attended our event, which was wonderful. We had 120 booths and vendors, 15 food vendors, and we partnered with the Commons, who was able to give boxes of food as families exited the event. And we also had a booth that we were able to give clothing that was new or very gently used to students who were not able to afford new school clothes. This year, we're already starting off, as you can see, the flyer, our Summer Fest 2024. We are very hopeful to get at least 3,000 people there. I already have 80 vendors and booths, 12 food vendors, and we will be partnering with the Commons and with Food Hub so that we can hopefully do the same thing. And we're also going to have the car show where Norman Frustio Sr. is helping us with that, and it's going to be much bigger. We're hoping there'll be about 40 cars that are going to be there. So, and hopefully be a little bit more organized. We're going to map out the whole thing this year. So, as you can see, the times are changed on it. It's going to be a shorter event this year so that it's not so hot for everybody. And hopefully you guys enjoy it. So then we also were able to do the Thanksgiving turkey drive this year. And thanks to Freeport Macaron for donating $5,000 to us, we used about half of that money because we needed to separate it into 2 years. So we used about half of it. I still don't ever want to see a turkey again in my life. So I pretty much bought out Walmart every single day, and that was wonderful. And then all the schools donated canned goods, which was awesome. So we were able to do that and provide that for our community. We also did the tree lighting in December, which was pretty awesome. Every school had a booth that was able to create tree ornaments, and the Snao Mariachi Band sang to us. And we also were able to light our tree that was given to us generously by the Corey boys, which was awesome. And we also did our trunk or treat, which was amazing. We had a ton of trunks, so that was awesome. The community loved it. And our biggest endeavor was the Parent Center. So the Parent Center, Freeport Macaron donated $5,000 to us we partnered with the Commons and we had donations from the Rotary Club, which was amazing. And as you guys can see on the flyer, which was so wonderfully created by Charlene, so she did a wonderful job on that. We have free computer access, internet access. We're working on getting donations for new underwear, new socks, hygiene products. We have food in there that's donated by the Commons, and they will be going every so often to refill the freezer and the refrigerator. And then right now, thanks to our maintenance crew for all of our, new flooring that's in there, they're right now renovating the other side of it, which is wonderful because we didn't think we were going to be able to do that as soon as we are. So that's awesome. We're planning on putting a washer and dryer in there so that we can offer free classes, and when we do the free classes, they can wash their clothes at the same time. So they can kill two birds with one stone. And then I was also told to give an update on the Title IX guidelines that just came out. Those guidelines, we have to be trained before August 1st, the Title 19, which is myself, Mr. Corey, Suzanne Cavita, Norma Ramirez, and Lisa Wilson. So we will all be trained on those Title IX guidelines before August 1st. So, any questions?
Just in Title IX, do we anticipate we'll finish that by October? And also, do we have it fully staffed?
Do we have the Title IX team
Full-
fully staffed?
Yes.
Yes, we do. We have it fully staffed, and yes, we will.
And it's August 1st, right?
Yes, August 1st.
Oh, sorry.
August 1st, we have to be trained on it, which, yes, I do think that we're going to be able to do that. There's no reason why we wouldn't be able to.
And do you compile data in terms of what you see in terms of students' needs, shelter, even emotional support, different things like that? So kind of give,
So we are doing McKinney Bento. So with McKinney Bento, that is the homeless kids and the kids that are in need. And, we do have data on that. Actually, we're actually getting that now for a grant that I'm working on for the McKinney Bento sub-grant. So, yes, we do have data. So we had about 50 families this year.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and Ms. Grijalva, Food Services. Did we save the best for last?
Always, no. She's our food person, we know it.
Okay, good evening, members of the board, Madam President, Superintendent Corey. As we all know, the 2023-2024 school year started out rough for the food service department, as it is for everyone in the district. However, in the end, it all ended up with positive vibes thanks to the help and direction given to us by Mr. Corey. Who knows where we would have ended up had it not been for his strong leadership and positive direction. The food service department fed the Cobre District students more than 350,000 meals in the 2023-2024 school year, on time, every time, regardless of how short-staffed we may have been on any given day, and that's not to include the afternoon snack. On May 7th, the food service department went through an administrative review conducted by the New Mexico Public Education Department, Student Success and Wellness Bureau. I am very happy to say that PED did not identify any findings regarding the child nutrition programs in the Cobre District. The food service is in total compliance with federal and state regulations under the National School Lunch and School Breakfast Program. A big thanks to Frank for all the help in providing finance documents that were mandated. Our goals for the food service department for 2024-2025 are to prepare more home-cooked meals using our unique and approved healthy recipes following SB board guidelines that were just implemented to us. To continue to partner with the local farmers through the Frontier Food Hub and Mr. Chase tournament to ensure we use the freshest products available. Offering choices to meet the needs of our students. Keeping the district kitchens clean and to have equipment working and readily available so the staff is ready to produce. employ staff that are positive, team-oriented, and well-trained. Questions?
I have a question. How deeply involved is the school with the summer lunch program? Is that separate?
It's all together.
It's all-
It's the same, it's a seamless summer option. Okay, we don't have to do it, but we do it because we know that there's kids in the community that look forward to going there. And today was our first day. Today was our first day out.
Just more of a comment, thanking you. When we had our school board meeting out at San Lorenzo, there was a young man, I want to say he was a second or third grader. And he was like, he invited, I think, all of us to come have lunch. He said, you know, they just provide the best food to us. And he was like, you need to come try it sometime. So we're going to take him up on that offer. I
Yes,
think.
you do. That's Ms. Chavita. Oh, yeah. Thank you.
No, I would have a question as well, unfortunately. And these come from the vector training. The vector training gives us, gave me an impression of the diligence that you guys really have to have when you have kids that have food allergies, kids that have diabetes and different things like that. And I've gone to the kitchens and seen lunch being served, and I've asked, do you guys know who has diabetes, who the allergies are, and is it documented and is it here? And the answer to that was no.
That was the wrong answer because I have every medical form that I need from the doctor's office or whoever's giving the order, and what it is that they're either lactose intolerant or peanut allergy or anything like that. It's on file. It's given to the nurses, and the nurses turn around and teach them.
And is that shared with the staff?
Oh, yes, yes, yes. That is how we get this food to them. We order special meals for them.
Because I went to both Cobre and to Snell, and the answer was the same. And it was prevalent through all the staff that were there. And this isn't a point of contention, but it's maybe a communication to ensure that not only is it there, but it's known.
Well, the nurses give it to the manager that we have there on duty, and they turn around and give it to me so that I can file. And we do have lactose intolerance at Bayard Elementary.
In what you described, it doesn't go out to the staff. At least that part's not in your description.
To the staff?
Yeah.
Food service staff?
Yes.
Oh, yes, it does. It does go out to them.
Okay. I look forward to going down there and seeing that, hey, yes, we do. We have it, and it's right here.
And
I want to add a comment too, because I was at Bayard Elementary prior to my role here, and the food service staff there would even label the snack with my students' 2 names on it that had differentiated snack, one due to lactose intolerant and one due to some other issues. And in the snack, in the bag, when it had to be different, they would even put their name on it.
It's a
It
big
was,
responsibility to give it right
but
child
you know,
the right thing.
yeah, had their name on it, and you know, it helps the teacher, you know, if there's a sub, because, you know, the teacher knows because we are told, but I think when there's a sub, you know, they may not always know, and just that the food service staff goes above and beyond to put their name on it, no matter who's in there, so that they know it gets to the appropriate student. So that was my experience at Bayard Elementary, so thank you.
And kids are very, they'll remind you.
Oh, yeah.
We have a sub, because I have 2 in my class this year that had allergies. One a pineapple and one that needed a milk alternative. And they will remind you, and not just once a day, but like 3 times a day, remember I have an allergy. So they're very forthcoming with their food allergies. Thank you. Is that it, Mr. Corey? Does that conclude?
This is it, but I want to compliment this team, and I just want to tell you the amount of work that happened this year has been unbelievable. And as you can hear, and you've picked up in a few of these, that I don't know if they ever stop working. And weekends are not out of bounds. Phone calls are all the time. And spring break, you know, some of those are optional, right, if we go or not. I just want to tell this crew that sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, I cannot tell you thank you enough. And I know we're all on the same page as we do this for our students in our school district. And I really want to tell you that this is the progress that happened this year with this group it's been unmeasurable. And I'm excited about the potential of what our district can do in years to come, because you can see there was a lot of work done, and a lot of departments came in with major problems, or not a department is a nice way of putting some of them, and they did a whole lot of work to get things back in check. And, you know, just like Mrs. Ramirez, we have an audit in right now. If you'd have told me we were doing an audit at the beginning of the year, let me tell you how scared I would be, because we weren't even probably close to being able to handle something like that and come out well. I mean, I have 100% confidence right now that we're going to be, you know, right on the mark of what we need. And then it's just a little bit of frustration of the things that we've had to do this year, just for the fact of how, you know, background checks and all these other things that shouldn't have had to happen, but did, because we didn't have them in place. Well, we had them in place, but I don't know, something happened to them. So, but I just want to tell this team, you know, here you are, Cobre Schools, right? And I appreciate you, and I appreciate the extra that's gone in to do what we've done. And kudos to each and every one of you. So, and then that concludes my report.
Thank you, everyone. Please feel free to leave and go spend time with your families.
Thank you very much for all you do. And despite my questions, I am very impressed with all that just goes on. And it is, in my opinion, the due diligence on my part to ask questions. And the other part of that is that the comparison before what was here, with where we're at, there's just no way to discuss the level. And the leadership that is here, that is now, I think, giving a very stable platform, but also holding people's feet to the fire. That wasn't happening before. HR was run by the secretary for a number of years. That's how low priorities there were in this office. So it is an astronomical change, and I'm very happy with that.
Okay, get up and go.
Not you, Caitlin.
Frank. You're still on the agenda.
Okay, that moves us back up to 2B, regular board meeting minutes of May 28th, 2024. Is there any discussion? I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the regular board meeting minutes of May 28th, 2024.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, it passes. That moves us to item C, Board Finance and Audit Meeting Calendars for the 2024-2025 year. Any discussion? I just wanted to thank Charlene for taking that on and getting us somewhat organized for the new year.
There is a couple of reasons for this one.
I'm trying to find them.
Okay.
So the one that I went through quickly and checked was the regular board meetings. One, I noticed that we didn't have a time on there, so we'll add the time of being 5 o'clock. But the two I want to bring to your attention is the December 23rd meeting. It is on the Christmas holiday. And so I'm assuming you would like to cancel that one?
Yes.
And then I have one more, May 26th. That is also on a holiday. That's on Memorial Day.
Yes.
And so we would like to cancel those two. And then we've checked the rest of the dates, and I think we're good as far as breaks, holidays, and other things.
Graduation is in,
The graduation is actually the week before.
Okay, other than those two, do we have any other discussion, questions? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Individually approve the calendars, or can we collectively approve them?
I think you could collectively approve them.
Okay. I would move that we approve the calendars that have been presented to us with the changes that have been discussed by Mr. Court.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a second?
second.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, that passes. Moves us to item B, fiscal year 2024-2025 budget.
Hot off the press? Thank you.
I mean, we've discussed the budget in the last couple of meetings, we've discussed it in detail in the finance committee meeting. And we put a budget in place based on what we knew at the time, based on our funding, based on our staffing. And we were looking at a deficit of, in our operational of $1.3 million. So we had to make a lot of big decisions, and we came up with the budget. And the budget that you have in the packet is, nothing has changed. We've had that same budget presented to you in the last few meetings. And that budget is very bare bones budget. There's a lot that really was kind of left out that what we're gonna do is just kind of see how the year progressed, put this back in. One thing that we've done, we've kind of really pillaged all of our grants to try to make ends meet. And so we've made this budget work. And, you know, once we went into the new year, we were gonna have to make a lot of adjustments and so on. The handout I just gave you just came this afternoon. Well, one thing that we were kind of hoping on was, when we built this budget, we knew there was a lot that was left out, and we were really hoping that the state would come through and help us out. And there had been talk about throwing some more money at us in the special session. And this memo came through today where the state is gonna increase the unit value for us. So they're increasing it by about $313. So that in turn is gonna provide us with an extra $757,000. So that's really gonna help us out a lot. But we won't realize this money, it says in the memo, until late July, early August, when they'll send out an adjustment, and at that time, then we could budget that money. So really, that's gonna give us some time. We'll really be able to analyze our budget. We'll have all our new staff in place, because since we built this budget back in April, there's been a lot of changes. People have left, people have been hired. You know, there's been numerous changes. So once we put all the payroll in place, we'll know exactly where we stand. And then with this money, with this new money, we'll really be able to finalize this budget and make it a good budget. One of the things that we really need to look at is we need to have a good carryover to the next fiscal year. With this budget, we were spending every penny that this district had just to make it move. And we weren't looking at having any sort of carryover. With this money, hopefully we could have a decent carryover, and we'll be able to continue some of the salaries we have in place, such as the conventions and so on, so that we won't have to face more layoffs going into the 2025-2026 school year. So this money is gonna be a really big help to us. So with that said, this budget, like I said, we reviewed it already multiple times, the finance committee reviewed it in great detail, and we have it's a good start to it. It's not perfect. We have to build it really early in the season, but you know what, it's a good place to start. We'll start our school year with this, and then it comes along, we'll be able to see systems supplement it for the rest of the year. So I'd like to recommend that we approve this budget, and we'll proceed from here.
Okay, any questions or discussion?
I have one question, and that's regarding the, what's it called, the rural designation?
We didn't get any sort of answer from PDD on that.
And that's between $500,000 and $700,000?
That was about 463,000 that we lost from that designation.
Do you know of any other school districts that are being subjected to that as well? As
No, I don't know anything else that lost that. I'm sure there's probably some that gained, there's some that lost, but I couldn't tell you.
I think Logan school districts, when I was at the school board conference, this was an item of discussion, and I think one of their school board members said they were facing the same situation.
which still begs the question, how can that happen? And they haven't provided any real justification for it?
They went back, their comment was they went off the census
Yes.
numbers. And so they're saying, what they're saying is, we just run the same formula, we just use the numbers that are provided to us. So they're trying to divert the blame away to, we're just using the census numbers.
Have we taken a look at the census, you know, the last one and the current one?
I didn't get the last one.
And it's curious as to how the census would be applied to an individual district versus, you know, Grant County or a city or. Okay, just want to see if there's the possibility of continuing, is there a possibility of continuing to, argue for that money, or is it a dead deal?
We've discussed it at many levels with the state. We've discussed it, we discussed it in our review of the budget with PDD, and we discussed it individually with different people, and even up at the higher level, they're saying that this is just something that, that's just the way these formulas work.
The secretary of the education committee, is it Schultz?
It's Senator Souls and Representative Rivera.
I spoke to him at this last conference, and something I think that we go that route, discussing that there might be more attention given to it.
I just have more of a comment on Mr. Ryan and Mr. Corey. Thank you. Us sitting in finance and looking at this, we were worried and feel like you guys performed a miracle trying to make this look. So thank you. I'll entertain a motion if there's no further discussion.
I move that we approve the 2024-2025 budget.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, passes. Move us to item F. Item E, budget increase, 31703, SB 9 state match. Go ahead, Mr. Ryan.
Okay, this budget increase you have in front of you, I sent this out with the finance committee for discussion, and we kind of kicked it around a little bit, and there's something new that the state is doing. They've always provided a state match, a guarantee of $35 per student. If our local taxes don't generate the $35, the state kicks in the difference to make sure that there's $35. This past year, there was House Bill 119 that changed that formula. That it's a pretty complicated formula, and we gave the task to George Esqueda to churn for us, and which he did. And yeah, this formula is going to really generate some good money for the district. In the past, we've only received about $30,000 a year, and the state match, and this year we're gonna be receiving $171,000. So that's really gonna be a big help to us. So what I'm proposing that we put this money in is we have a school bus in order right now, which will probably be here in the next, probably in about a year. It takes about a year and a half to build these things. So it'll be here next year. I just wanna, even though it's gonna be next year, PED wanted a budget in place for this current year. They wanted a bar in place for, you know, at the end of the year. So that's what I'm doing right now, just putting this bar in place. And the budget will be in place for next year for this also. Any questions?
So be a new school bus that we'll be getting?
Yes, another one.
Any other questions, discussion? Okay, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the budget increase 31,703, Senate Bill 9, state match of 171,738.90.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Okay, that passes. This is item F, transportation contract with Montoya Transportation.
Yeah, I have two, the next two items on the agenda, the transportation contracts for what we, transportation, for the transportation. We kind of talked about both, but we could vote on each one individually. And our transportation money, this year we took a hit for PED. We lost $86,000 in transportation funding, which was about a 14% decrease in our budget. And once again, there's a change in the formula. Every time there's a change in the formula, no matter what it is, there's winners, there's losers. So we lost about $86,000 in this one. And it has to do with the density. One of the variables in the transportation formula had to do with density, the density staff, and when they changed it, some districts won, some districts lost, so we lost. Now that $86,000, the district were able to absorb about $37,000 of that loss, but I'm gonna have to pass on about $49,000 hit to it, which they know that there's good years, there's bad years when it comes to transportation budget, but they've had good years, they've had bad years, so it's both, it works both ways, so they're prepared for this decrease in budget. So collectively on the two contracts, we'll be decreasing them by $41,000. The first one that we have for you is for Montoya Transportation. They provide the busing service. They provide the busing service in the Neighbors Valley, and they operate three buses. One starts up at Lake Roberts, one starts down at City Rocks. The college come all the way up to San Lorenzo, and there's a bus that services San Lorenzo area. And then they also bring those students into Bayard to them. So their contract for the year will be $184,452. Any questions?
Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion for approval of the transportation contract with Montoya Transportation.
I make a motion that we approve the transportation contract with Montoya Transportation.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, that passes. Item G, transportation contract with Porter Transportation.
Okay, that contract, Porter Transportation operates 8 buses, and they service all of the Bayard, Hanover, Santa Clara, Hurley, Valley area, going out to Santa Rita, Philip. So their contract will be $430,380. Any questions on this contract?
Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the Porter transportation contract.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Secretary Velazquez. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. Now you can go home, Mr.
I gotta take care of the paperwork and the signature for you.
Okay.
I'll take care of it.
So that moves us to item H, first reading of policy B, 1700, VEDB agenda. So this is what we talked about at our last meeting. And I believe Stephanie provided the updated language. Is that correct? Okay. So this reflected what we agreed on about the public input, having it after the approval of the agenda, and having the agenda items and items of concern immediately following that. And then I think Mr. Barajas, who talked about, I mentioned the wording from my friend in the Roswell School District, so she incorporated some of the language from that with our current language that we use.
That wasn't included in the package? I didn't see anything that resembled a agenda. I just saw the check marks. Huh?
She didn't?
All she did was send the same one in the back. It looks like the same policy.
The same one we got the last time.
Okay, I think I got. I thought she sent us both. She attached it to our
Oh, did she?
email. Yeah.
Is it okay if I read it, or is it gonna be too late to read it out?
No, I think it's not a whole lot to read.
Let me go check the email.
Okay.
Can we take a 5-minute recess?
Sure.
Thank you.
To make a motion for that?
I make a motion, we take a 5-minute recess.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. We will recess for 5 minutes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You know, what's going on with the website?
Is that the
Hmm?
new one? Oh, yeah, I was gonna ask
Had
about
some
that.
changes made on the website, I don't know, last week or so. So that did something, I should probably explain, not starting with the certificate security. Was, got changed or something, so, yeah. Supposedly it's going to be fixed today.
Yeah, it gives me a privacy error.
Yeah, I did that to.
Okay. Should I read it when I get to work?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a e-edition member, but it's the highlights and
Yeah, yeah, me too.
privacy error.
They said if you weren't any faster, they were all leaving. No, I'm just kidding. They needed a 5-minute break and Charlene was getting some stuff together, so, yeah, no, they're gonna be right back. Yeah, perfect time for signatures.
I think I'll go in person, stuck close to 2 minutes.
You did good, Caitlin. You did good.
You say 2 minutes, and I only went 30 seconds over.
I just knew we'd be here all night if I cut everybody loose to go for it, because so much got accomplished this year, but the list is endless. Is that it?
Yeah, see the change for this year.
Okay.
Some of them.
at first reading of policy B dash 1700, BEDB agenda. So it does look like it's correct where what we discussed with the regular meeting with the call to order, roll call, pledge of allegiance, New Mexico flag, adoption of the agenda, public input, and then public input on agenda items. And then we also had the new wording that was included in the packets. I don't have that readily available, let me pull it up. Okay. So the script would be, the board provides the opportunity to speak on either agenda items or items of concern or both. In order to ensure that each individual has an opportunity to address the board provides a speaker up to a total of 5 minutes to speak during one of the designated public input times. The board president will recognize speakers, maintain proper order, and ensure adherence to the time limit of 30 minutes for all public input speakers and a maximum of 5 minutes per speaker. The president may also set a time limit to less than 5 minutes for individual speakers based upon the number of requests received. Questions of fact asked by the public shall, when appropriate, be answered by the president or referred to the superintendent for reply. No action or discussion shall transpire among the board members regarding such questions or comments. Questions requiring investigation shall be referred to the superintendent for later report to the board. Questions or comments on matters that are currently under legal review will not receive a response. Personal attacks on board members, staff personnel, and other persons in attendance or absent by individuals who address the board are discouraged. Confidential personnel matters regarding district employees should be discussed with the superintendent or the employee supervisor. We also request that you not discuss students who are not your own child. Presenters are cautioned that statements or representations concerning others that convey an unjustly unfavorable impression may subject the presenter to civil action for defamation. For the safety of yourself and others, signs and placards are not permitted in the boardroom. However, you are invited to express your concerns during public input or submit your concerns to the board in writing. It is long. Any discussion? Caitlin, if you could please put these updated versions on the.
They should be up there.
Well, they're revised.
No, these are revised, we're gonna change it.
Because we didn't, when we did our first reading, last time we didn't include the script.
Okay.
And the changes and comments.
Okay. But I'll put the put up there.
Or the ones they sent.
But
The ones they sent to you, or the
They were the
ones they
old ones.
discussed, or the ones they discussed last time.
Okay.
They had been changed.
That's why we're doing another first reading, to make sure we cover our bases.
Okay. So, is it available?
And we can't approve this because it's a first reading. So it was under action items. Okay, that moves us to item 3, public input. Is there any public input on agenda items?
Not all at once.
Caitlin, is there anyone online? No? Okay. We'll also take public input on items of concern. Anyone online for that? All right, that moves us us to item 4, old business. Second reading of the NMSBA policy advisories 238 to 245. This was the new school board transparency bill that was passed. I did not receive any comments from what was posted on, I checked my email, I checked my spam folder. I don't know if anyone else has received anything, but I have not.
Through the website, I didn't really see anything that called for attention to the policies and who to contact if they were going to be done. And in addition, I didn't see the old policies. I just saw the new ones that are being proposed. And that may have been user error, but when I clicked where I would expect to see our old policies, which I was looking for, they weren't there. It seemed like just the new policies, and it's a very, there's not that many policies as opposed to the whole structure.
The rest of our board policies are kept up by the New Mexico School Board Association, and they're in there. There's a separate link to them on that same page. I just updated or uploaded the policy advisories that were included in this packet for public review.
And you put me as the contact, right?
Yes.
Okay. Like I said, I haven't received anything. I've been checking my email, been checking the spam folder, so.
I made sure I spelled your name correctly.
All right, sounds good.
Nobody showed up either to ask.
It's still buried down low. There should be a comment before going to the board and going to policies to see policy revision folder. And then all of a sudden you realize, oh, they're doing policy revisions.
So I'm just, if I'm hearing you correctly, that you want a separate tab for that would just be policy revisions?
Just an announcement on the homepage that policy revisions are here. You have an opportunity to review policies and click this link and it takes you to it.
Caitlin, is that possible?
It's possible. I mean, I'm gonna have to move some stuff around. I think they're just getting kind of crowded.
Yeah, I don't see how anybody else would see that it's there. Juno might know about that, but I think that would be about it.
Was it difficult?
No.
Okay.
But you knew that there was being a policy revision. That's the part that's missing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could you even do, like, just for while we're doing this, like a banner, like something that comes up that just says,
I'll have to check.
okay,
The company that does our webpage now isn't big on pop-up banners and stuff.
Okay.
They like everything included just in the page because it just flows better. But I'll check with them to see if we can do maybe a pop-up or something like that.
you could just try your best to try to make it work, so it's a little bit more visible.
I'll do what I can.
Okay, sounds good. All right. That moves us to item 5, new business. Item B, school board training, sharing out, discussion. Would anyone like to start?
The one that was absent.
I just wanted to thank Mr. Corey for organizing our team bonding at Top Golf. Mr. Guadiana's son was victorious. He was definitely could hit the ball a lot further than all of us.
And a lot better.
And a lot better. But I was able to attend one of the special ed breakout sessions, talking about documentation with our OT speech staff. They suggested having a sign-out sheet when they go pick up the kiddos for services. I thought that was good. I know in our profession, we always talk about document everything, so It's a little bit old school, they said, but very effective when it comes to service times for kids. And I think it's valid because this year I had a student, his IEP was overlooked and he was not pulled for speech therapy for the whole school year. So I think it'd be good to cover our bases. And they also talked about the new Title IX updates. As Ms. Villa said, we have to be in compliance before August 1st. I also attended a session on previous cases regarding school law, and then a social media session, which was kind of intense. I don't know if anyone else attended that one, but it was kind of intense. And then at the end of the conference, they had a session, it's called Stump the Attorney. And so different school board members from around the state asked some interesting questions regarding, one was the live streaming with this new school board bill that was passed with the being required to record school board meetings. And so they were talking about the difficulties with being a small district and how it was a burden. And it was nice to network and meet other school board members throughout the state. Bernalillo, I sat with them in our veteran school board session. And so they were talking about some of the problems that they're experiencing, that we're experiencing. And so it was just nice to network and meet some other school board members. I don't know who'd like to go next.
I attended some of the one that you were talking about now, the first one for the veteran members, and my table was pretty interesting too, and they had a high reverence towards policy. As a matter of fact, so did the presenter, the ex-secretary of education, and I felt very well grounded in that, in terms of that is an issue that is this one.
Did you find it?
Anyway, and it was ironic because the next presenter, and there was two presenters, the next presenter didn't have that big of emphasis on policies. But it is kind of the backbone in terms of communication for the district and setting expectations. And avoids all sorts of problems legally if people know what they are, and if anything results in going to litigation. Not that we ever get into litigation or anything about that part, but also I attended that one that was related to the Supreme Court decisions made in the last 45 years, which was pretty interesting, but the detail in that is what really amazes me. Not only the laws that are looked at, but the cases that are taken, the considerations for the implications that differ from case to case, and the minutia there. But that's a challenging part for board members to engage in. The social media was one that I also attended, but one that was very relevant to me was fraud in schools, and it was 2 sessions, and it was a movie. It incorporated a movie in it, and how deep the fraud went, how people were hooked into the fraud because they knew about it, and they figured out the only way to keep them quiet is to hook them into the fraud, and it just kept growing and kept growing and kept growing. And I think the atmosphere before was conducive to that. I'm glad to see that that's not the case anymore. However, I still think some of it still exists. And that's one of the reasons I really look at internal controls. And that was actually done by the Jaramillo Accounting Group. So we can have a continuing conversation with them. But I enjoyed the conference. Also, playing second to my son in golf is always the case. But I think there was a lot learned, and I think there was a lot of growth that can come from that. Okay.
I'll go. You can be last. Well, Ms. Harden and I got to attend on the first day, the new school board members one, and that was a real eye-opener. I think it helped me understand my role better. Like, it was really about what is your role on the board, like what is your job, and just focusing on like what your role is and the importance of having a good relationship with your superintendent and not being afraid to ask questions and like be in touch with the superintendent about things that people are telling you or about policy or whatever it may be. And I attended the social media one, which was very eye-opening, and it connected a lot with like mental health, and it was very interesting to see what they were presenting. At the Title IX one, I sat with a very large table, and there was the general counsel for Albuquerque or Bernalillo. He was there with the board members from that area as well. And for every question, he kind of had the best answer because he was the general counsel and he kind of knew what the attorneys were looking for. And all of us were sort of just joking that we wanted to cut open his head and put his brain in ours. And it was just talking about like what a long process the Title IX is and how you have to be really careful and do each step, and what each step has like 10 additional steps to it. And there just wasn't even enough time in that session to get through the whole thing. But that one was really good. I also did one that talked about the McKinney-Vento. And I think that's something really important and something that in this community is a big focus. I know when Amber came, she talked about servicing those families a lot. One of the, I think they were an administrator at one of the schools on a reservation, and half of their kids come from the reservation and half not. And she said that just before COVID, they had like a little over 200 students that identified as homeless. And in this past year, they had over 800 students that identified as homelessness. And I mean, that was kind of heartbreaking to hear. And they just kind of talked about how their district didn't have a lot of resources and they were very unfamiliar with the McKinney-Vento. And so I just wanted to thank Amber because she did a big part of like going out and like really pushing herself into those communities and the families and trying to get them the help they need, or at least letting them know that help was there and figuring out ways that they could. The networking, just to build off of what Gabby said, I think I got like 3 different people's phone numbers and they were like, we want to help you, we know you're new, like if you need to reach out. And I think just building that network of people that are in your same role, like they may be experiencing the same issues or have some advice. So I thought that was really neat. And I also got to talk to an attorney after about some issues, you know, both here and in my role as a teacher. And after what she told me, I was like, well, I wish I knew that before so I could have told that person, this is what the attorney said. And just the information they gave was really good. And I think it's going to help all of us going forward. And thank you to Charlene for making those awesome packets that we were able to take with us. And to Mr. Corey for the team bonding. That was really nice. I mean, I didn't like losing, but overall, I guess it was nice.
I'll be a David. I'll join you, David. But everything that the other board members said was correct. One thing is they did mention a work session, which would be awesome. Mr. Corey suggested maybe in July we could have a work session, if possible. That would bring us to par, you know, with other issues that, or different ideas that.
And she also mentioned how that too is kind of like a team,
Mhm.
sort of kind of like bond too, like
Yes.
you're able to get together just the team in
Yes.
addition to the work session
But
business.
I think the most important thing about that, it would align us for the coming year, in terms of what are the priorities.
That's why I suggested July. Let's get
Yeah.
us all on the same
I agree,
page.
Absolutely.
Okay.
David?
I agree. I mean, some people say we have maybe too many meetings, but then they gotta be productive, right? And I think, again, for realignment or to continue our alignment, I think the work session will definitely help us.
I think David just has too much to say. He just doesn't know how to put it into words.
And we missed you. Maybe the next training.
Well, I'm gonna take you guys up on that babysitting offer, and I'll be there.
Practice your golf game.
Okay, that moves us to item 8. Executive session notice is hereby given so that the Cobre Board of Education will meet in executive session for the following purposes. A, pending litigation as permitted under Section 10-15-1H7 of the New Mexico Open Meetings Act, specifically so that the board can discuss and legal counsel can advise regarding Net Acosta versus Cobre Consolidated Board of Education, ETAL D-608-CV 2024-00026. Cecilia Varela versus the Cobre Consolidated Board of Education, case number D-608-CV202. Melissa Minus versus the Cobre Consolidated School District, case number D-608-CV 2024-00029. Deanna Davis versus the Cobre School District Board of Education, case number D-608-CV 2024-00031. And Maureen Peru versus the Cobre Consolidated District Board of Education, case number D-608-CV 2023-0028. Item B, limited personnel matters as permitted under Section 10-15-1H2 of the New Mexico Open Meetings Act, specifically so that the board can discuss and legal counsel can advise regarding the status of complaint against the superintendent. And item C, limited personnel matters as permitted under Section 10-15-1H2 of the New Mexico Open Meetings Act, specifically so that the board can discuss the superintendent contract, including terms and possible extension. That was a mouthful. Can I entertain a motion?
Could you repeat that?
I cannot repeat that.
I move that we go into executive session.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I'll do a roll call vote. Mrs. Harden? Yes. Ms. Heredia?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Secretary Terrazas?
Yes.
And Vice President Bayard?
Yes.
Okay, we are in executive session at 7:20. Barely. First statement affirming that no action was taken in executive session and that discussions were limited to pending litigation and personnel matters as specified in the agenda. I'll entertain a motion to come back into open session.
We come back from open session,
Okay.
and we complied with what you just read.
Okay, thank you, Vice President Guadiana. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Heredia. I'll go ahead and do a roll call vote. Mrs. Harden?
Yes.
Ms. Heredia?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Secretary Terrazas?
Yes.
And Vice President Guadiana?
Yes.
Okay, we are back in open session at 8:32 p.m. That moves us to item 10, action items. Item A, approve superintendent contract extension and changes to terms of the superintendent's contract, if any.
I move that we approve the superintendent contract as discussed in executive session with the following changes: that the contract be extended to June 30th, 2026, with the 2 revisions of a 3% salary increase, the 25 days of leave with 22 being personal, 3 being sick.
22 being
Annual.
Oh,
Annual.
annual,
And-
22 annual and 3 personal. With the revision of 13 holidays and deleting the residency portion.
So 13 paid holidays and then the residency revision.
Yes.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, that was passed. That moves us to item 11, adjournment. I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So move.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Right, we are adjourned at 8:34. Thank you.